Hello and welcome to Finger Thinking, a channel dedicated to analog productivity and creativity tools. Okay, so today I was just having a look through my box of stuff that I've bought and haven't opened yet, which is embarrassingly large. Actually, I have so much stuff that I've gone, oh, that looks good, and then I haven't got around to even trying it. But that just means I get to do it on camera and we get to do an unboxing together. So today's pen is a Schneider Ceod Shiny. So I've bought this on Amazon. I bought it about 6 months ago and it cost me like $19.97. So it was $20 Australian. It is still a pen that is available. It's still on the Schneider website. I don't know where you would just buy it in a store, to be honest, but it is available on Amazon and eBay and the usual online retailers. So the reason I kind of was drawn to this pen and thought I'd give it a go, it is, even though it is a student pen and they can be the basic experience that they're supposed to be, and it is a medium nib, which is not my favorite. I do prefer a fine, was because it came with the fountain pen nib and it also came with a rollerball fitting as well. Plus, it comes with this eraser pen. So I've never seen that. I'm sure they exist in Europe and places where you use fountain pens all the time. But certainly when I was at school and outside of using fountain pens, in the world where you're just writing with a biro here, you have to use liquid paper if you made a mistake. So I'm really keen to see if this eraser does work. Otherwise, if we have a quick look at the pen itself, so it comes in a blister pack, but the pen, so Schneider is a German company and this is actually made in Germany, which is interesting. That I did a review on some online student fountain pens recently. I'll link it up here. And in that video, the pen was made in Europe, not necessarily in Germany. And then I also did a review on a Staedtler Triplus, which I will also link up here. And in that pen, it was made, I think it was made in China. It was designed in Germany, but it wasn't made in Germany. And we saw, I did two pens and it was very inconsistent quality. So yeah, I'm looking really forward to trying a made in Germany student fountain pen. Okay, so the pen itself, yeah, so we have 6 ink cartridges, the pen, the rollerball fitting and the eraser. If we just have a quick look at the description on the back, it's a fountain pen with high quality stainless steel nibbed tip iridium grain. I don't really know what nib tip iridium grain means, but okay. Additional front part for rollerball, box of 6 ink cartridges in standard format, so that just means it's a standard international cartridge. The royal blue ink is erasable. The eraser for fine and broad erasing. And then the blue writing tip overwrites the correction precise and clearly. Okay, so this will be interesting. I think I need to open it up and have a look, because that's always kind of something that you wonder, if you write and then you've erased it through a chemical interaction, if you then go to write again, is some of the erasing chemical still going to be there and you're just never going to be able to write over the top again? So that'll be interesting to discover. Otherwise, yeah, let's cut this open and have a look. That was so much easier to cut through. I don't know why sometimes you get this kind of blister pack stuff and it just takes almost kind of like bloody bolt cutters to get through. So that cut really nicely. But anyway. Okay, so we have the different parts of the pen. It looks really, really simple. It's a plastic pen. There is going to be nothing fancy about this pen, but we will go through it in a sec. I've just had a look at the website, and on the website it mentions that this pen comes in 5 colours. So it comes in a powder pink, graphite, which is this colour, blue, lilac and teal. I have actually also seen like a pearl, like a white one listed on websites for sale, but that's not on the Schneider website itself, which is a little odd, but there you go. They only come in a medium nib, so which in my observation is pretty standard for student pens. All right, I'll play with that in a second. So if we just put the pen together and start from scratch, it is just a push cap. It seems to be reasonably sturdy, as you'd hope so, because this would be designed to knock around in a pencil case. It's got a metal clip that actually is movable and functions as a clip, so that's good. The cap itself, there's a little bit of a design element to it, so there's a bit of a swoop. Schneider does have a promo video for this pen on YouTube, and it's the weirdest promo video I've ever seen. It just kind of flashes up the pen, then does a visualization of like a swooping line, and that's the video. It doesn't actually enlighten you about the pen at all in any way, shape or form. Anyway, the cap is pretty straightforward. It's a 3-piece cap in that, whoops, it's a slippery little bugger. You've got the cap, the end finial is just another piece of plastic, and then the clip is just a piece of metal. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. There doesn't appear to be a liner. So I've got my trusty pointer out, and okay, there is a liner, but it starts at about here. So yeah, so it starts down the bottom of the cap. I can't see that in there, but okay, pretty straightforward, and it's just an interference fit. So this is just a little bit of a step in the molding that pushes up over the barrel of the pen. Now the barrel of the pen, it has a soft material grip section, so this is just some sort of, oh, look, is that, yeah, that dents with my thumbnail, so that is soft. It is shaped so that you are encouraged to hold your pen correctly. The barrel of the pen, okay, it's just plastic, it's the same material as the cap. There is no threaded insert. There is a thread here, but that is cast into the body of the pen. The end cap is just another piece of plastic. I don't know if that's, looking at that, it actually, because it's the same color, it looks like that is all part of the same molding. So, and my pointer isn't long enough to get down the end. That's okay. So on the barrel, we do have Schneider is embossed as part of the mold, and then Made in Germany on the other side is also embossed. So that's pretty straightforward. So that fits on the fountain pen, and one would hope it fits on the rollerball section as well. And then, yeah, so these are the grip sections on the two, the rollerball and the fountain pen, basically appear to be identical, as well they should be. Okay, they've even got the same little notch in the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to start with the fountain pen, so we'll put the rollerball to the side for now. Now if we have a look at the nib, I'll zoom this in a little bit. So the nib is just stainless steel. I don't know where this iridium bit comes into it. It doesn't say iridium on the nib at all. It just looks like it's a standard number 5 nib with a little bit of decorative kind of engraving on it, but it doesn't have a size marked on the nib, and it doesn't have a brand marked on the nib either. If we turn the feed over and have a look at the back, so reasonably typical, but there is this gap just in the middle here, which isn't common. And then if we compare it to my favorite student pen, which is the Faber-Castell Grip 2010, we have, again, stainless steel nib, and the Schneider is really plain, though this is actually looking like it's a 6mm nib. I probably will measure that, because it definitely looks much bigger than the 5mm nibs, doesn't it? So I'm just going to quickly measure that, and indeed it is. It's a 6mm nib. So even though it's quite short, it's quite wide, so it'll be interesting to see how that writes compared to, yeah, certainly my favorite pen, my favorite student pen of all time, which is made in Slovenia. I've never done a review of this, but it has popped up in a couple of my other videos. So yeah, with the ink cartridges, these look like they're just going to be pretty standard. It looks exactly like a standard international ink cartridge. If we have a look at the erasable marker that comes with it, oh, we can see it says erase at one side and rewrite at the other. So we have just a bit of a pointed tip, and then we rewrite over it in, let's have a look, what's basically just a felt tip pen. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like, because that'll obviously be very different ink to what's in here. Okay, so now it's time to just put some ink in the pen and see how it works. I haven't used these Schneider cartridges before. I have purchased them before, and you can get them in, this is a box of 30, I think, and you can, yeah, 30, and you can get them like in boxes of 100, but mine is still unopened. Bought it to do in another video, which I haven't got around to doing yet, so that was also in the box of stuff I bought and haven't used. But anyway, so we'll use the one that's straight out of the Schneider box, and there we go. I don't know, maybe this giant feed is just taking a really long time to fill up with ink. We're not off to a great start, are we? Right, well I'm just going to abandon that. I'll come back to it. I want to see if this pen works. So let's put that over there. And let's see if the Rollerball is any more successful. Wow, we're not having much luck, are we? There we go. Kind of weak though. There we go. All right. Okay, that's actually pretty nice. The blue's pretty benign, but that's not really a surprise. Let's just the ink itself dries pretty quickly. We can, whoops, play with our eraser pen. So if I, okay, I'm just going to zoom in on that. So that's done a really good job of erasing it. So if I go over the one next to it, and with a bit of time, if I write over the top of it again, yeah, okay, so that's just interesting to see. if I write with this end, yeah. Okay, so you obviously need to wait until that is dry before you use it. But just if I want to check ink colors, so it's not really the same color at all. So if you do use this eraser marker, you are going to find that you can tell which letters you've erased because they're a different color. Make sure that dries. This rhodia paper can take a little bit of time to dry. Now if I all right. So I'm going to let that bit dry and we'll come back and when I think that's dried properly. Okay, so yeah, you just need to wait for the paper to dry. Now if that's dried and that hasn't feathered, I wonder if this does. No, it still continues to cancel out. So you definitely can't write with the cartridge ink over what you've erased. Okay, interesting though, good to know. Look, it's a pretty standard rollerball pen. I don't tend to use rollerballs a lot. I tend to like particular biros or fountain pens. If I just okay, look, it writes fine. The medium tip means it is a little bit clumsy, but it is designed for students, not adults. But a bit of fun, and I do like the fact that because it's a cartridge rollerball, you can have it write with whatever color ink you want. So that I really like. But I am determined to get this fountain pen fitting working. So let's go back to this. And I'll continue trying it on the Amazon paper. And that is just getting nothing. There is just nothing coming down. Okay, so if it was a fact that like the ink was getting into the feed and just wasn't getting down to the nib itself, then it should be when I wipe my finger over the breather hole, I get some sort of ink on it, but I just don't. I'm going to go and flush this nib and see if that makes a difference. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so I've spent some time with this pen and it seems to be flowing pretty reasonably. So let's actually give it the writing test. Okay, so look, after a little bit of writing with this, just to make sure that the ink was flowing, it still seems to be a little diluted over what was in the rollerball, but is what it is. I have done a bit of writing, but not on the rhodia paper, and I do wonder if maybe I wonder if the tines are a little bit kind of out, because it just doesn't seem as smooth as it could be. So I don't know, I won't be able to pick anything up on camera, I don't think. But I did have a bit of a look at it under the loop, and I do think that this left tone here sits slightly, like ever so slightly proud of the right tone. So what I actually am going to do is I'm going to try and tune the nib a little bit. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes I just make it worse, but I'm just going to start by just So I don't even know if we see this. So this stroke, the down strokes are pretty smooth, which you would expect them to be. But there is a significant difference in stroke kind of thickness between going left to right versus going right to left. How do I try getting just half of the nib? If I try it on the side of paper, there we go. I'm going to try it again. So just by sitting it right on the edge of the paper, I'm able to just apply pressure to the right tine only. And I don't know if the camera will pick this up. Let's zoom in case it does. Whoops, let's get that on the screen, and you might see that I'm able to flex one nib only by doing this. And that actually feels nicer, and it has a more, does it have a more even stroke? I don't know, let's try it on the Amazon paper. So look, it certainly feels a little bit better. So what I'm going to do now is, now that I think, yeah, that even with my little pointy tool trying to run it across the two tines, that is a lot more even. That's good. So I'm going to go away and write with this for a little bit, and then I will come back and give you my final thoughts. Okay, so it's now a few hours later, and I have spent time writing with the fountain pen nib and the rollerball nib. And so my final thoughts are, look, I'm underwhelmed. Even with the, like, knowing and putting it in the context of it being a student pen. Okay, so sorry, the glass outside are going nuts. So even with just considering it in the context of student fountain pens, oh look, it's only average. So the tuning of the nib, where I was bending this right tine up, that definitely made a difference. That did improve the writing a little bit, but even then it was still, it wasn't exciting, and it is that medium stroke, which I'm not a big fan of. The feel of the pen is quite nice. So it's the way it sits in your hand, the length of the pen. We didn't look at this earlier, but it kind of technically posts, but not well. The pen being so light, and this lid being, or the cap being, so kind of relatively big for aesthetic purposes. It does change the balance of the pen. So anyway, I don't like posting pens. I don't think you need to, because the pen is quite long. But it's just, yeah, the whole, it taking forever to start and get the ink flowing. It does skip periodically, so probably 3 times a page this would skip for a letter. And not kind of, it will be halfway through a sentence, it'll just suddenly not write. So I wasn't the biggest fan of that. And it's not a nice clean stroke, it's not smooth, there's no kind of character to the pen that I enjoy. Yeah, so the fountain pen was a bit of a thumbs down for me. With the rollerball, again, it was, so it's a super light pen. The girth of the pen, like, it fits my quite large hand really well. I do like the grip section. I'm always suspicious that this kind of soft rubberized plasticky stuff is just going to age poorly and get tacky and yuck after a while, but I guess I'll find out. But yeah, so the rollerball was okay, but again, just the stroke on the rollerball wasn't fabulous. But to be fair, that's one of the reasons that I don't typically like rollerballs. I don't like the line that they leave versus, say, a ballpoint pen or a fountain pen. So again, yeah, underwhelming. I just wasn't thrilled. Look, for a student pen, this gimmicky eraser thing, yeah, it's probably fine. Actually, that bit was pretty nifty and was effective. One of the things that's going to be difficult for any student pen is the fact that I'm going to compare it to this Faber-Castell Grip 2010, which is just amazing. I know I haven't done a review of this, but gee, it is such a lovely, wet, juicy, smooth nib. Like for the 20 bucks, whatever it cost me for the set for this, which is the same price that I paid for this set, by the way, for the Schneider. So they are apples for apples when it comes to market segment, when it comes to cost. This one's made in Germany, this one's made in Slovenia. This one is nicer. This one won a design award in 2020. I don't know that this one's ever won anything, and it does look quite juvenile. This one does look a little slicker than the Grip 2010, which does look like a school pen, but this is so much nicer to write with. So this is going to be my least favorite student pen. And so for $20, is it worth getting, even just for the gimmick of getting the eraser and the rollerball nib as well? No. Is what it is. I do have another pen though in my box of stuff I've never opened, which is the same concept, where it is a pen body with a rollerball nib and a fountain pen nib. So it'll be really interesting to dig that one out in the future and do a road test of that to see if I like that more, because I love the concept of being able to put an ink of my choice into a rollerball nib. I love that. I think that's great. But this is not the pen set to do it with. Okay, and that's the review. So thank you very much for joining me here at Finger Thinking today. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it when you do hit that like button, because it helps the video in the algorithm. These are just fun videos from me. It's all a hobby, but it is nice when you see that people are discovering the world of analog productivity and creativity tools. So I really appreciate that. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time. I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.